pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes of April 15th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 15th, 2020.
Commissioner Pierce.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Second item, Bank of North Dakota Flex Base request from Crowbar Properties. And I'll talk to Brad. Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you a quick intro. It's a $12,000 Bank of North Dakota community, buy down request. So this is a no interest loan that is paid back to help keep the downtown building full. Chris Gravelier is here of Inbound Labor, and he's going to talk about the business. Just give you a quick couple of minutes, and then if you have any questions, you can ask any of them at that time for him. So, Chris, if you want to come out.
Chris, if you would just identify yourself for the.
Okay. I'm Chris Grobelaar and owner of Labor Inbound. And brief background, Labor Inbound is a company that helps farmers to get foreign seasonal workers in. So we help the farmer through the approval process to get approved for the program. And then with our partners in various countries, we help them recruit as well. Business has been going for about 3 years, and we're at a point that we need to expand and look at office space, and that's the reason I'm here today.
Okay. You picked a nice spot. Historical one at that.
Yeah.
So you're going to be putting apartments in there as well?
Well, it's got two
I mean,
apartments.
yeah, upgrading.
Yeah, well, it's pretty nice apartments already, so I don't really need to spend any money to upgrade them or anything. It's, I think it's pretty much ready to roll.
Are they going to be for those workers that come in, or is it going to be for anybody to rent?
Well, yeah, I'll put it available to any migrant workers, so not just foreign seasonal workers, but also the hospital and Eventide for traveling nurses and things like that. So that would be my focus for those two apartments.
They also had unanimous approval and a recommendation to approve from the JDA Executive Committee.
Fills up a spot that might be a little tough to fill down the road, the little jewelry store.
The apartments are very nice.
Did you see the pictures on them?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that was existing. I thought that was
Yeah.
going to be, so, yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the FlexPace buy down
Motion
from
by
Bank of North Dakota.
Commissioner Pierce,
Second.
second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
President Moe?
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, congratulations and good luck to you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Thank
working
you.
with you. Okay, now that will end the meeting of the Joint Jobs Development Authority. We will now open up the City Commission meeting, and we will have the approval of the minutes of May 6, 2024.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hatch, second by Commissioner Robbins. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, under awards and proclamations, we have a proclamation to discuss tonight. We have the Hope Center, the 10th anniversary. Teresa, if you come forward, I'll read this after or whenever, okay? If you would like to explain the
Certainly,
program.
I'd be glad to. Thank you for letting me come here and present this to you. I'm past president of the Hope Center Board, and our current co-president is with us tonight. Would you stand? This is Rita Kitch, and the other co-president is one of the chapter members of the Hope Center 10 years ago, Nancy Johnson. Other board members present are Molly Johnson, who's also a charter member, and Kathy Loveseth, our board secretary.
No, everybody.
Um, 10 years ago, the Hope Center was founded with a mission as a nutrition center with the mission to demonstrate Christ's love by helping meet the nutritional, emotional, spiritual, and shelter needs of others. And June 6th is National Hunger Awareness Day. And so we have chosen that date to celebrate our 10th anniversary with hot dogs and an ice cream truck and tours and hospitality of our Hope Center. So we invite all of you to stop over between 4 and 6 p.m. and see what we're up to. And our slogan or our hope, which we'll be wearing on our shirts, is serving hope, sharing love, 10 years of making a difference. And so I request of this body that you proclaim Thursday, June 6th of this year to be Hope Center Hunger Awareness Day. If anyone has any questions, I do have some current statistics to give you an idea of the scale of our service. In the month of April, we served 370 households, 401 children, 504 adults, and 140 seniors. A total people served, individuals served for the month of April, 1,047. And we also distribute senior commodities through the federal program every other month. And so to date, we have served 1,000 for this year, 1,329 households, 1,394 children, 1,771 adults, 521 seniors, for a total person served from January to now of 3,692. And we measure the food that is donated or brought in, it's measured, it's weighed, and it's weighed when it's distributed. So this year to date, we have distributed 69,529 pounds of nutritious food to the needs of our community. So thank you for your support, and I invite your consideration for this proclamation.
Well, that won't be a problem.
All right,
But I
thank
want to
you.
thank you for what you are doing for our community. It's absolutely awesome. Thank you for all your hard work and your long dedication to it. And with that, I will read the proclamation. Okay, City of Devils Lake, North Dakota, Hope Center 10th Anniversary Proclamation. Whereas when federal budget cuts threatened to eliminate the only food pantry in Devils Lake 10 years ago, a few concerned individuals got together and decided to change the story. And whereas a planning committee was formed and with the mission of finding 20 founding supporters who believed in the vision of the Hope Center and would pledge $200 in monthly support for 3 years. It took 5 months, but a mix of churches, businesses, and families stepped forward to fill the need and make the Hope Center a reality. And whereas with the monthly support pledged, the planning committee was able to procure from former Eagles building in downtown Devils Lake on Saturday, July 20th, 2013, and the dream became an action with the first food distribution in January 2014. And whereas the mission of the Hope Center is to demonstrate Christ's love by helping meet the nutritional, emotional, spiritual, and shelter needs of others. And whereas though regular food distribution and special programs, the Hope Center has been meeting needs and impacting hunger in the Lake region for the past 10 years. And whereas June 6th is designated National Hunger Awareness Day, and whereas on June 6, 2024, from 4 to 6 p.m., the Hope Center will host events to celebrate its 10th anniversary of service to the City of Devils Lake and to the citizens of Ramsey County. Serving hope, sharing love, 10 years of making a difference. Now, therefore, I, James Moe, do hereby proclaim Thursday, June 6, 2024, to be Hope Center Hunger Awareness Day. As mayor, I urge the citizens of Devils Lake, North Dakota, to recognize the full value of the contributions made by the Hope Center in combating hunger in our community, and further encourage individuals, churches, organizations, and businesses to continue to support the essential mission and work of the Hope Center. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal in the City of Devils Lake, North Dakota, be affixed. And I will sign this proclamation. Congratulations. Okay. you need this copy with the signature, or is there a,
I think it would be for your records.
okay, all right,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. That concludes awards and proclamations. Pardon?
I'd like to make
Oh.
a motion to move the recommendation of concurrence award for 8th Avenue Southeast, 10th Avenue Southeast, 16th Street Northeast, and 17th Street Northeast, moved it to old business.
Okay, we have Commissioner Pierce to move that item number 2 to old business.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Hatch. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, thank you for catching that. Okay, public hearing, Devils Lake Planning Commission. Okay, Mike,
I'll take it.
or Rob? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So the planning commission met to review a request to allow outdoor storage containers on out at the industrial park. They are going to recommend approving that. However, we want to adjust the ordinance for the zoning, and we need a little bit more time to be able to get that figured out. So I expect that we'll be presenting an ordinance for first reading at the next meeting.
When they say, are they talking connexes?
Like Conex boxes, but we want to make sure that we're defining it so that there's some minimal standard that has to be met. And so we're going to be exploring how other communities are doing it and really trying to make sure we've got a good ordinance.
Okay, for location within the community or,
Well, this is for out there, just as far as what the maybe structural requirements there may be, or, like we've already looked at Bismarck, where they require that it has to be suitable for being valued as property. So we're going to kind of look and see what is out there and try to identify what's going to be best for our area.
okay,
But it'll be something that allows it to be utilized in the industrial park
only or?
only. Yeah, because that's all that was approved at this point.
Okay,
There's discussion on the other thing, but that hasn't come through formally
okay,
in an application or anything.
okay.
So you're looking for,
There's no action to be
change.
taken at
No-
this
no
point. It's
action.
just more informational until we get that ordinance
okay, thank
drafted.
you.
Okay. All right. How about the zoning change?
So there were a few meetings back, there were some zoning changes that came before the commission. There was one that had been tabled for further discussion and review, which would be along Fifth Avenue Southeast between, I think, 4th and 6th Streets. There was another hearing on that and further review, and there was no recommended change to the zoning for that area. So
4th and 8th Street.
it's highway
Correct.
commercial.
4th and 8th?
4th and 8th, yes, 4th and 8th Streets. So again, there's no action needed. It's more unless you want to deviate from the recommendation from the planning commission to make no change.
I'll make a motion to,
Do we need a motion then?
I-
I don't
I
think we
don't- I
have
don't think so.
no change, no action necessary, right? Unless you want to change it.
No, I was going to say,
No, I'm
if
good.
there were no change, then no.
So no action, okay. Okay, nothing under bid openings. Under visitor delegation, we have Brenda Bergsrud here from Amachi program. Brenda, please come forward.
Mayor Moment, just because there was a miscommunication between Brianna, could maybe just motion to add her to the agenda because it's not written down,
Oh,
just for the
okay.
formal record.
Make a motion
Sorry.
to add,
Sure.
Machi to
Commissioner Pierce.
It's
motion.
actually the Lake Region Shelter.
Lake Region Shelter.
Lake Region Shelter,
Thank you.
okay.
So I'll second the motion.
Okay, and Commissioner Robbins, all right. Yeah, any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, you're able to speak.
All right. Now we have the right entity, so we're good. So I guess just here to update on the numbers at the shelter. So so far in 2023, we had 182 total people at the shelter. 134 were on duplicated services, ages 18 to 82. Length of stay is generally about 10 days, but we had several who actually stayed 60, 90, 120 days. So
What signifies how long they stay? Is there,
So what we do is they come in as 3 to 5 day emergency shelter. And then if they're working on maybe finding permanent housing, employment, counseling, other resources, then their stay can be extended. So we have some who stay there that are making, $20, $30 an hour working construction, but they cannot get into an apartment because they're a felon. So we have had 2 high school students in the past few months, and they are over 18 in order to stay there, but no longer able to live with their parents. So they have been staying at the shelter. So, yeah. So it's just various reasons, but we provide the wraparound services. So like with the high school student, I had some conversations, of course, with Mr. Hansen. He said, just make sure you get him up in the morning so he gets to school and, things like that. So we're working with that. So
Stay pretty full all the time.
pretty much full all the time.
How many beds are there?
So we have 12. At some point, we may ask to increase that number. We have the ability to maybe get to
In the same location? or-
in the same location. So there's a couple of individual rooms that could actually have bunk beds in them because they're pretty good sized rooms. And so we should easily be able to get up to at least 15 to 16.
I'm going to ask a hard question here, and it's not that I don't understand why we need it, but is there any location that would work better than being right downtown? Do you think?
Well, I think that the downtown location is perfect because of the wraparound services. Is they're actually able to walk. They can get to jobs. They can get other places. I know at one time somebody had mentioned way out on the edge of town. Well, that's not going to be feasible. Most of these people obviously don't have transportation. And so walking, the shelter does have a van and does provide some transportation, but we can't, pick somebody up from Taco John's at 11 o'clock at night either. So
I suppose you have a need for a lot more beds too,
yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I think the location is okay. It just could be a bigger facility maybe.
Yeah.
And we partner with the Hope Center, so we feed the people that are staying there. They have their laundry done. So,
Well, it's a needed facility, unfortunately.
unfortunately, it is. Yeah.
Needs,
Yeah. Other questions?
I don't, it's just a sad
Okay.
situation, but how do we fix it? Wish we could.
I wish we could too. And I see now that the weather's nicer. I mean, I get to my office sometimes at 7 o'clock in the morning and I see a lot more transients walking around that are not at the shelter. I don't know where they're staying, but as the weather changes, we see more, but they don't always come to the shelter for help either. So, at the shelter, we do drug test and we do breathalyze. So we make sure that it's a sober facility. And so that also impacts, some people won't come there because they know we do that. So, but and the police department is very much aware of that, I think.
Right. Well, I appreciate the update. That is
Yeah.
nice to know. Yes,
So,
The only reason I asked, just so not to sound like I don't like what you're doing, but I got people asking me. So kind of was seeing, just, so I can answer them and not be, hypocritical of it and give an answer that's not, true.
no, I appreciate the questions and I do appreciate that one because I hear that back a lot
Yeah.
also. And, when we moved the shelter to that location, there were some businesses that were concerned as well.
Yeah.
But the people at the shelter honestly are not the ones causing the issues.
I don't believe we've had any real serious issues that I'm aware of.
No.
Chief, are you aware of
No,
any?
they're,
I haven't seen anything lately, no.
people thought that the transients were coming from
Oh,
there.
yeah,
That's the questions people had for me.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be able to address that, that's all.
Mhm.
okay.
So,
Spencer?
$10,000 contribution is budgeted for 2024.
Okay, and you're wishing to request that, I would guess?
that'd be
The
great.
motion to approve the
10,000.
transaction.
Got a motion by Commissioner Pierce,
Second.
second by Commissioner Robbins. For the $10,000, any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
President Mo.
Aye. Motion carries.
Good.
Well, keep up the hard work,
Well, thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for the update.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, commission portfolios, Commissioner Pierce.
Chief Bennett, we got.
Our full-time position is open. It closes this Friday on the 24th. We've had some people show some interest. We have one applicant already. We have the firefighter convention coming up in 2 weeks. That should be a pretty good draw to the community. And then we are doing the Fill the Boot again during the Devil's Run. That'll be on May 31st from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Lever's and Walmart. So that's all I got for you, unless you got any questions of me.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, we had the Arbor Day celebration on May 17th out at St. Joseph's School. For the 44th year straight, we were awarded as Tree City USA. And for those that don't know what that means, it's basically you have to have a tree board, which we do as a city, and a shade tree ordinance. Also spend $2 per capita on urban forestry and have an Arbor Day proclamation. All those have to be done to be able to qualify for Tree City USA. And that we applied and were granted all that again. And for the 44th year straight, the gentleman that was here from forestry was amazed at the trees we do have right now and the quality of them. So I want to thank the Shade Tree Committee and to all who put effort into that. So just wanted to let you know.
Sorry I had to miss it.
No, that's okay. The kids were funny.
Yep.
They've been good.
Okay, well, thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Robbins. Mike, anything with streets?
Nothing for streets tonight, Commissioner, unless you have questions.
I have no questions. Engineering?
Engineering, a couple things under engineering, as far as the water main replacement project, the contractor's on site, so we'll start work over on the south side, near the ambulance building, 8th Avenue Southeast. We'll be working 8th Avenue Southeast, 5th Street Southeast, and 6th Street Southeast, between 5th Avenue and 8th Avenue. So we'll start there. There's isolated blocks, but we'll work in a fashion to try and replace the old cast iron pipes throughout this summer. So that work will be started this week. As far as the other projects, the roadway improvements projects over on the west side, talked to the contractor, and it's all, in all likelihood, that work will be later on this summer, probably in that August timeframe. Plans can change, but that's currently what we have as far as engineering and construction projects that we have going on.
Okay, and there'll be a deadline for them if they start in August. I don't know, do you picture how long that work would take?
Correct. We do have a completion date. We put the completion date for the roadway projects the latter part of September. We like to get the asphalt complete before October. So the final completion date is in the October timeframe, but we like to see the asphalt get down by the end of September.
For the water main replacements, were letters sent to the houses that are going to be affected for the water shut off, or was it just put online?
It was put online. What'll happen with the houses is they'll be notified individually with door hangers.
Okay.
Contractor will be working because we have to directly coordinate with all of them related to temporary water supply and things like that.
Yes. I
So
figured
we
you
have a
would. I
letter
just
that
wanted to
gets
know
put out.
how you were going to notify them.
Yep. So we go through a process with the contractor for notification to make sure that they're individually notified,
Thank you.
as well as what's online.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's all I have, Commissioner.
That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Hatch?
Mike, anything from sanitation?
The only thing for sanitation is the loan grant application for USDA. A draft was submitted. I received confirmation today. They looked through the draft and everything seems to conform to their requirements. So now the official submission will be submitted yet this week
and then depending upon what funding's available, it'll be with either a combination of grant and loan or potentially all loan, depending upon what the city administrator would like to see with that as far as funding, how the best funding package works for that. So that'll get submitted this week and we'll see where it goes.
Perfect. Rob?
Letters for assessments went out last week, so property owners between Walnut Street East and Highway 2 should be receiving those either just this weekend or early this week. Go onto the website if they want to schedule those in-house inspections. That'll go a long way towards making sure that when when the valuations are set for 25, that they're set on good and accurate information. There is no requirement for individuals to let us into the house, but it definitely does help. I've also been advised, and we are going to be meeting with Vanguard at the beginning of June. The county is submitting a grant application that we will be a part of to try and get our property data online so that it's available and accessible by the general public, which is something that we need to strive for anyway. But the state had allowed for there to be a grant for counties to apply for. Municipalities weren't included, but the county's going to add our parcel come onto their application. So hopefully we can get that to go through and we can start getting our information online as well. That's all I've got.
They're gonna have a working server that's not gonna,
Right.
yeah. So we don't run into that again, make sure they got it.
Yeah, and just Vanguard's our vendor for the assessing software, to where the server issues that we have was related to our IT company. So it's a separate company.
Perfect. Good. Thank you.
Commissioner Hammerys, Mike?
Nothing under utilities. One item under utilities, excuse me. Starting hydrant flushing this week. So they'll be flushing hydrants north of 10th Street and then progressing to the west side. And then we'll move systematically throughout town. So if there's any discoloration in water, it should be a short-term thing. If people are washing white clothes, just watch that. Haven't seen a lot of issue with it, but just make city residents aware that we're flushing hydrants. That's all I have for utilities.
Okay. Chief?
Well, we have one opening. It's closing at the end of the month. We have 4 applicants so far. Captain Harkness was sworn in on Monday last week, so he's been doing pretty well for his first week. Speed trailer is moved over to Pops. I don't know if you're aware of that, Commissioner Ash. So I know you had requested that last time. We put over by Lake Region RV. And we're getting ready for Devil's Run Parade. We got everybody all situated for that.
Perfect.
So,
One question I have for Mayor, if I may. Can we make sure in the years past that traffic light at the intersection of College Drive and
6th Street.
right there where the park's at, there's that.
Oh, by
Can we make sure?
Highway 19 there? Yeah.
Can we make sure that's switched to the blinking? Because if we've had to call somebody out,
Yeah, I don't know who, is that the fire department, Mike?
No, we can.
the police stuff, we've called the PD and they've come out and done it. I don't know.
We don't change lights, but Mike,
What specifically are you asking?
When
So I
these
understand.
cars are coming in, I did security the last 3 years there for people coming in and out on that corner, right by the viaduct that leads into the park.
Okay.
That light there, if it's left on for turning green and yellow and red, it blocks everything up and we're trying to wave people into the park, and cars on the other side are trying to come through and turn, and it just makes everything crazy. So if it's blinking where this way is red for them to stop as they're leaving, because they come and go all day and they watch both ways, it's not going to hold up traffic. It gets to be a mess out there.
so you're controlling 19 access, right? To get down to the park
Yes,
on College Drive.
yes,
So you just want north and south to flow.
yes. So people aren't sitting there waiting forever, because then they end
Right.
up running the red light if they're sitting there
Right.
waiting too long. And they
So
get,
when you exit, you're exiting to have them take a right, to take a south turn.
yes. Or if they're turning left to
You
go over to
understand
Pros
that, Mike?
for
You
dinner.
need both sections to just maybe flashing yellow.
Yep, flashing yellow and then the flashing red facing 19.
Mayor, members of the
We
commission.
can work through
Well,
some.
I think we can get everyone together offline. We'll
Yeah,
talk that
I
one
just-
through, get the GIS up and we'll just, we'll talk it out.
Okay.
I was just making aware. that
Yes.
we could
I
do that.
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions of the chief? Okay, Spencer?
Mayor, all members of the commission, just between the last commission meeting and now, sent out budget request memos to the department head teams. So we're starting the budget process. It's that time of the year again. We'll really start having our in-depth conversations probably on the flip of July when the new commission's sworn in. May or may not, we'll have at least one new commissioner. And so the commission that will make those decisions, we'll try and run through those briefings as fast as we can. As far as salary plan, from previous conversations with the commission, we're doing reviewing City Hall this year. I think we did police department, then it was fire department, then we did public works last year. And then for 2025, we'll look at City Hall here to include the police department as part of chief's interview process. And something he'd like to do with the department is that slight little restructure that he had presented to you guys previously. Tanya is currently looking at that because I think the most important thing is, we have to have organizational peace, right? And so we need to make sure that we take fair and legitimate processes as we look at these sort of things. So as far as the positions that he had kind of laid out and a little higher in the hierarchy, that's been included as part of the process. As through his interview process, it seemed like the conception of the idea was viewed positively by the commission. But we want to make sure that the math, the comparables match up so that we take it through a process of where the whole organization can view that the process was legitimate and fair. Right? So that's currently in the works. Appreciate the chief is doing a good job so far. But budget season is upon us, so it's coming.
Okay, all right, thank you. Jack?
No update for me?
Okay, well, this is probably your last meeting, I suppose, so thank you for what you've done for us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good luck in your future endeavors, so thanks again. Okay, anything on, for any other portfolios? If not, we'll move on. Under old business, we have a recommendation of concurrence award for 8th Avenue Southeast, 10th Avenue Southeast, 16th Street Southeast, and 17th. So Mike?
Included within your packet is a memo related to that particular project. The Department of Transportation opened bids, and 2 bids were received for the project. And with that, would recommend award to the low contractor Gowan Construction in the amount of $2,270,837.80. Both bids that were received were below the engineer's estimate, so we received competitive bids for the project.
Okay.
The reason why the bid tab is broke out and the way it is there's 2 projects really related to the one project as far as the Department of Transportation is concerned. One is cost share with our urban roads funding, and one is 100% city funded. So that's why it's broke out separately, and then at the total is the total dollar amount of the contract. Recommend awarding the contract to Gowan Construction.
I'll make a motion to approve Mike's recommendation.
Commissioner Robbins?
Well, second.
Commissioner Hatch? Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hash?
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce? Aye. President Long?
Aye. Motion carries.
That project has a lot of different parts to it, so there may be work occurring in some parts of that throughout the course of the summer. We have to complete this work before we complete this second phase of the work, and so on and so forth. And there's multiple contractors that'll be working on it. Gowan is the prime. He will have subs, I'm sure, working on it. So in that area, there'll be work occurring prior to August. And there's some utility work that has to happen in that area as well, just for the commission understands.
Okay, next item, consent agenda. There's nothing under there. New business. First item is the contract attorney services for Jason Saylor of Trainer Law Firm. Spencer.
Mayor, all members of the commission, agreement consistent with the terms that were laid out after the interview process with Mr. Saylor from Trainer Law Firm, $110,000 retainer, plus the just a slight stipend for office supplies and whatnot related to their services. here. Again, thank you to our current city attorney and planning for a start date of June 1. And then in addition, special projects at 2/3 of normal billing rate and specified at $200.
Make a motion to approve legal services agreement.
Commissioner Pierce,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
President Mo.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item number 2, acknowledgement of an agreement to Devil's Runs.
Every year we execute a contract to close a section of State Highway 19. We think of that roadway going by Roosevelt Park as a city-controlled roadway, but it's actually state highways. And so we execute a contract with the Department of Transportation for the temporary road closure for Devil's Run. Recommend approval of the agreement. Same as every year.
I'll make a motion to accept the agreement for temporary highway closure.
Commissioner Robbins,
I'll second.
Commissioner Pierce. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3, signage for 2023-2024 championship boys and girls basketball teams. Spencer.
I regret I'm going to do a lot of talking here coming up. Remember, members of the commission had a previous conversation that regarding the city's intentions to want to do something in honor of the boys and girls basketball teams and their 2 championships that they won this winter. And we had gotten a small group together in the spirit of having that conversation. Commissioner Pierce was part of those, superintendent, activities director, and then Devin Gaffman from the engineering department, and met and discussed kind of the options that we had and viewed the 2 routes really as something more a permanent structure on both ends of town, or one end of town, and then a static billboard for a temporary time. And after Devin did some research, if we were to do a permanent sign, we're talking $75,000, something that you could change in and out. And kind of in the spirit of trying to honor both teams, but keep the cost relatively reasonable. Before you were recommending that we quote unquote rent the 2 billboards, it's either the first or second static billboard on the east end of town, same thing on the west side of town, for 6 months. Contract says, I think, July 1, but we've got indication from Newman that if we get the graphics to them soon enough, it could go up in the middle of June. For 6 months, total cost would be just shy of $10,000 for the 2 billboards in total. And so Devin's currently working with the school district on and Newman signs on some sort of rendering. They intend to put, some visual of both the basketball teams plus some words on each billboard. And if if it's too small for the static billboard, they might just go boys and girls each on one. But depending on how it looks, and if it's too small, we want to make sure people can see it and it looks fine and reasonable. So recommendation is the 6 month at just shy of $10,000, and it's in the form of a budget amendment to be taken out of advertising and promotion from the city commission's budget.
And that's strictly just city funding then? There's no other
Yeah,
outside?
yeah. There was the conversation, we could do a full year. That'd have been 17,000. And I've just proposed to the school district that, the 6 month, the city will take the $10,000 on, obviously contingent upon approval from the city commission. But if people are adamant that the full year is necessary, that, with the 17,000, if there's an interest in a cost share from the booster club and or school district, we'd have that conversation. There was no further conversation after that. So
I was just wondering if the boosters would be interested in helping now.
I mean, I sent the response. I said, hey, was there an interest to extend it? And
No, not to extend it, but to keep it at the 10 for the 6 months.
Yeah.
There's the booster club been talked to about adding and helping. And part pick.
I think, it's a lot of volunteer effort from those parents. They do a lot of fundraisers, do a lot of work on the ground. I mean, I can go back to them and ask them if they want to cost.
I was just wondering if it was any talk to.
Yeah. And I think that also with the 6 month time frame, it hits our peak traffic times with all the tourism, and right around that November time, the next season starts. So it's kind of a natural point. So I want to thank Devin for all the work and research he did on this on the side.
What's the wishes of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve the 6 months for the $10,000 for the signage from Newman's Signs.
I'll second.
Commissioner Hatch? Okay, any further discussion? Well, I think it's a great idea to recognize them for their achievements. So, anyway, roll call.
Commissioner Hash.
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
President Mo.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 4 is governance of the structure of the Devils Lake Regional Airport. Spencer.
All right. Mayor Mo, members of the commission, I've had this conversation with quite a few people, and so going to give the commission its first kind of formal briefing on a lot of the conversations that have been happening in regards to the airport, the city of Devils Lake and Ramsey County. And I apologize if some of it seems a little elementary, but I think it's important that everybody has a very clear and firm understanding as to where we stand with a few things. Current arrangement with the Devils Lake Airport and its governance. The city commission by resolution created the airport authority in 1975. In 1977, the city and the county came to an agreement that along with the city levying mills on behalf of the airport, that they would levy 2 mills. And through a lot of research over the weekend, determined that in the effort to find more operational funding for the airport, in that 2007, 2008 timeline, there was a lot of conversation with Ramsey County, and they increased their mill levy from 2 to 4, and all on property that excludes the city of Devils Lake. So the city levies 4 mills, and then the county levies 4 mills or less, depending on the funding needs on the property outside of the city of Devils Lake to fund the airport. And so there was a lot of conversation of, hey, is this a municipal airport or is this a regional airport? And from everything that I can tell right now, it is a municipal airport, and created only by a resolution by the city commission of the city of Devils Lake. And that takes me to establishing kind of a baseline understanding. There's 2 models of airport governance in the state of North Dakota. Airport Authority, which is basically an independent board that has representation from city, county officials, a few members at large appointed by city and or county. And then the other one is, so those airport authorities would be like currently the city of the Devils Lake Airport, Grand Forks, Dickinson, Fargo, and Jamestown. The other model is the airport being run as a city department. They have this in Bismarck, Minot, and Williston, and at the end of the day, they report to the city manager, administrator, and the city commission. And so currently, our airport is an airport authority. However, as you guys know, the city does a lot of things for the airport. It's my understanding that in the past, the airport authority used to be completely distinct on its own. They ran their own HR, retirement benefits, health insurance, bank accounts, IT, credit cards, finances, audits, payroll administration, and so on. Over time, because that's been burdensome for the airport, given the small staff that they have, the city has slowly taken on a lot of those things, where primarily all of them are done by the city of Devils Lake. They are included in our health insurance self-funded plan. They are offered ND-PERS retirement just along with every other city employee. When we report our payroll, they're included. And their money is in our bank account. They use City of Devils Lake credit cards, and when we pay bills from the airport, they say the City of Devils Lake and have the mayor's signature on it. And so as of late, actually, let me backtrack. We are very unique in that relationship. So the airport authorities around the state there, I kind of called them all and checked, and they are all completely distinct and separate. They run their own stuff. They have their own shop, and the city, other than providing some financing assistance, are pretty hands off. The ones that run as city departments, they run them autonomously, and they are just like any other department. This hybrid model is becoming problematic with new requirements from the FAA in regards to the IRS and the Systems for Award Management. So the federal government recently made a lot of changes in regards to what they call the SAM.gov account. So this is the account you have to receive all your federal money. They give you this unique, it's the UEI, unique entity ID number. And for the longest time, in the effort of trying to be as efficient as possible, we've just operated the airport under the city's kind of the city's IRS Social Security number, for that example. And long story short, the FAA is making it pretty difficult and demanding that if the airport's to receive federal assistance in the future, that it needs to have its own distinct Systems for Award Management account, and you have to have your own what's called an EIN with the IRS, and that's like the Social Security number for an organization. And so this hybrid model is not going to work in the long-term future, and the airport manager, chairman of the Airport Authority Board have communicated pretty firmly that it's doubtful in the future. And so we kind of have to pick, is the Airport Authority going to go off distinct and separate on its own and run its own shop, or are we going to rope it in as a city department? And I guess just to be sincere and honest with you, right? There's nothing more I'd like to come to the city commission and say, we should write a check, give the airport its money, and they can go run their own shop, right? But professional me looks at it, and it's pretty clear and obvious that it's in the best interest of everybody if the city ropes the airport in as a city department. If I told you, what I spend a lot of my time working on, right? A lot of it's been healthcare, a lot of it's been kind of reforming some of our JDA process. If I talked about just city departments, and we'll just take the finance department out of it, I would say probably the department I worked with the most is the airport, probably next to fire department, then engineering, and police, and so on. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we do a lot of things for the airport, all their administrative processes pretty much. And there has to be a lot of back and forth because we do a lot of things on their behalf, but they don't report to us. They report to that airport authority. And so want to open this conversation to you guys before we obviously bring any action items before you. And this will be a first project, probably for our new city attorney coming up here in June. I've had conversations with Chairman Frithorf at the county and gone back and forth with the state's attorney a little bit already. But the recommendation is going to be that we assume the airport as a formal city department like Bismarck, Williston, and Minot, given the close and integrated systems that we currently have in place. And I think, number one, we need a lot of buy-in from a lot of people, right? We need a lot of buy-in from the people at the airport, of which we've had meetings with them, and they seem to understand. And they say, hey, we just don't have the capacity to go and do this on our own, and this makes sense doing it. And as well as the county, the county has a large financial stake in the airport. They levy mills. And so it's going to take a partnership with the county to do this. Mergers and acquisitions are hard. There's a lot of stakeholders. But it's clear that this is in the best interest of the airport over the long term, as well as I could say probably the general public of the greater Lake Region area. I think it's important just looking at the current benefits and challenges that we're going to face moving forward. So some benefits to the airport in specific for coming in as a city department. Number one, operational redundancies. If you ask Commissioner Hash, if you ask me, well, what's the toughest issue at the airport right now? it's probably just staffing concerns. And because of those staffing concerns, I mentioned all the things that we do. We're also taking over the ARC mission and reducing an employee out at the airport, putting it into the fire department. And so finding those ways to find operational redundancy is going to benefit the airport, so that if one person goes, we don't have to worry about keeping the airport open. For example, with the ARF stuff now, once complete, we're going to have 6 firefighters that are trained in ARF. So if we lost a firefighter, we've got 5 other trained guys that can go and do that. I think about the street department. There's a geographical proximity between our street department and the airport. And I've kind of talked to Mike and said, hey, this is going to be a conversation moving forward. We're going to have to discuss, should the commission decide to do this in the end, about, similar to how the airport does, or the fire department is going to take over the ARF, that there's, that the city's working with the airport to create those redundancies as far as snow removal at the airport. It's to my understanding that, if you have a CDL and you do a couple things, you're qualified to do those sorts of things. So we can create those operational redundancies. Financial tools. Right now, the only way to fund the airport is through their landing fees, terminal rent, or a variety of things, but it's mainly property taxes. We rope them into the city. Now, all the tools of the city being a home rule charter community are at their disposal. For example, sales tax. We can use sales tax to fund public facilities. And again, it's going to take a conversation with Ramsey County as to how that works out. But there are a lot more tools in the tool belt, especially when I think about the conversations we're having around property taxes. And if, let's say, property tax was gone and we have an airport that's primarily funded via only property taxes, we don't have any other tools in the tool belt, that would be a problem. And so I think it gives them a level of financial security if the city were to take them on as a department, because of the tools that we have in our tool belt. Fixed asset sharing. We have equipment in the street department. We have equipment in the fire department that can be used for some purposes that the airport needs. Obviously, there's federal regulations regarding equipment you get from grant money and where it can and cannot be used. And we'll work through all that. But being an organization that has a lot of heavy equipment, I think we can find some efficiencies there. And I think incorporation in the city team, like I said, it's been, hey, is there some other motive, right, for bringing the airport in as a city department versus kind of keeping the status quo? And I think if there was any friction between the city and the airport, it's that dynamic of, right, us doing a lot of things on their behalf, but them not reporting, directly to us. And tried to help mend that, right, by incorporating airport leadership into some of our department head meetings and those sorts of things. And I think we made a little headway with that. But incorporating them into the city team more, I think makes those, hey, I'm in a problem, and the first call comes to a fellow department head. I think that can have benefits. And you're part of a bigger team. You're not just kind of off on your own in your own operation. You're part of a larger organization. Benefits to the city, I think allocation of cost to city residents. So right now, city residents pay property taxes for the airport, and maybe there's a benefit of maybe shifting some of the property tax that we use to fund the airport to put that in our general fund, and some of the sales tax we use to fund the general fund to fund the airport, possibly, given that it provides that regional benefit and the tourist attractions that we do have. And so we would be able to fund the airport with regionally procured dollars rather than locally procured dollars. So this is a conversation we'll have with the city commission moving forward, and those sorts of things. Details to be worked out, but I think it's also important to have a clear understanding what the challenges would be if we did this. Number one, I talked about is a municipal authority or regional authority. At the time I wrote the staff report, it was a little vague. We were going back and forth, but I think it's pretty. I don't have any other information to suggest that it's not just a municipal airport authority, but we'll have to have some more due diligence and conversations with Ramsey County on that. I think there's a lot of dedicated members to that are on the Airport Authority Board right now that have done a lot of really good work over a really long time. And they have a lot of ownership of what's gone on out there. And change would be difficult. It would make, obviously, we would have to make sure to have those voices involved in decision makings and probably have some sort of a advisory group or committee to make recommendations to the commission, because the airport stuff is very complicated and it takes a long time to learn those. I think a Airport Authority Board member term is 5 years versus just your standard 3 or 2. I think it's because of how long it takes just to get the hang of it and to get that full understanding. And we want to make sure that everybody understands it's nothing personal against anybody at the airport. It's all about systems and processes. We've got to create good ones for long-term success. And then the biggest one, I think, is the city commission would be responsible, and myself, right? I talked about it. Last thing I'd like to do is be even more heavily involved with the airport, but I think it's what needs to be done. And then obviously we can't do this without buy-in and support and commitment from Ramsey County. That's why I'm going to be at the county commission meeting tomorrow to talk to them about this as well. Sorry if I sounded like a little bit of rambling, but I think it's just important that everybody understands where we were, how we got here, and why we're doing it. And I think, again, to stress, Devil's Lake is in company of one, right? Every other airport is distinct and separate on its own, or they are fully roped into the city department. We've kind of got this hybrid model going, and talking with the airport manager, airport authority chairman, it's pretty clear that if we don't change something, federal resources would be harder to come by. So I think maybe to close, 2 things. One, airport's doing fine operationally. There is a real price probably to be paid with an action, and so that's why we're having this conversation. And I guess number 2, Mayor Mo, Commissioner Hash, you guys have been involved with these conversations over the last handful of weeks. I guess I would turn over to you if you guys had anything to further comment, and then take questions from the remainder of the commission.
Questions, Rob? Well, I just, one thing I have to say is the airport's growing. Every month, our numbers are up for boardings. We're just about done with the new airport terminal, which is state of the art. So we just need to keep things going in the right direction. I think, as long as we need to keep it, being able to get our federal funding, and
That's critical.
But like I said, the airport is very complicated, as the way it runs. The FAA is very strict. And so if something doesn't get done, they can shut you down just like that.
And I think on that note, we had the conversation of the systems for award management and the IRS. It's a lot of really frankly boring administrative stuff. It's kind of technical and whatnot, but we could put the systems for award management, just say, they're operating as a city department, put them under our name and just do it. But like you said, the FAA, they're very strict. They want it a certain way. And that really wouldn't be reality or the truth if we did that, because they aren't a city department. They are an airport authority board. And the airport authority board does make the policy decisions for the airport. And really what the city does is help them on the administrative side, of which they would have to pay somebody else to go do, whether it's in-house or third parties. And we do it for pennies on the dollar.
But what happens to the land? Would the land out there still be owned by the county? Or would that?
All the land,
Would be responsible.
all the land and assets that would be in the possession of the airport authority right now would be transferred to the city of Devil's Lake.
So we'd be responsible for any of the upkeep out there.
We own it.
It'd be critical to have that board, because they have a lot of technical knowledge on that stuff, the grants and everything. Somehow we have to write them into this process so that they have that decision-making and the knowledge of how to go about all that.
And
it's similar to the job authority.
Exactly what you just said. Similar to the Jobs Development Authority, how we've kind of taken some of the smaller granular discussions and put them in the executive committee of the JDA, and recommendations to the JDA come from the executive committee. We would likely recommend to the commission some form of a, airport review committee or some sort that has county representation on it. Because really, if Ramsey County is going to have a financial stake in it, they should have some level of input in decision-making and oversight. But then recommendations to you, the city commission, would come from that airport review group. And I think to make clear that this would be like a budget neutral, right? It's just a structure change, right? We wouldn't be going to Ramsey County to ask them for more than they've levied right now or at a higher rate moving forward. And nor would the city need to be paying more than it is right now. Obviously, it would be the city commission and the administrator and the city team's responsibility to make sure we have a financially viable and break-even airport. But I don't think if we were to come to some agreement with Ramsey County after our conversations that we would be requesting anything more than the equivalent of the 4 mills that they're levying right now.
So it would be the current staffing that they have with the managers and what we have here would be fine. There wouldn't need to be another position added on to work more closely with them, or you would just work more closely with them?
It'd just be like any other department.
It's the same as,
Okay. If they were a city department, once they were roped in, we would have that conversation of how, we reduced one employee out at the airport and we added a firefighter so that we can have that redundancy and constant coverage. Do we have to have that conversation about the street department in the airport as well? Because those positions are ops, right?
Yeah.
Certainly not baked into that cake, but they would be conversations that would be had. And if I told you that we could create those redundancies to ensure the operational viability of the airport, using the resources that the city team has, then I think we would need to have that conversation.
How is it tracking now, the project? Are they on mark or?
Oh, yeah, they're looking really good.
I mean, financially?
I believe so. Yep. But they are waiting for a grant that's been held up because of this little mess. So the numbers.
The numbers thing?
Yeah.
yeah.
See, and I think another, if they were roped in as a city, when I think about that project, I think about the line of credit because of the delayed federal reimbursements. That would all just kind of be a wash because it's all the city, right? So those types of.
But the contractor's costs are as expected. There hasn't been a whole lot of, oh, by the way, here's.
Oh, they've had
budget
some.
change.
They've had some, but not super.
But it's stuff the airport's taking care of.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah.
okay, if they're able to meet it, then yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just something that has to happen. It's just,
If you had to pick one, right, continue with an airport authority and they have to go off on their own, or you rope them into the city department. Like I said, they're day to day here, there'd be nothing better to some of it out of sight, out of mind, but it makes sense to rope them in.
even at the board meeting, everybody agreed that it's probably, it's probably not what they like, but it's probably the right thing.
So do we need any action on this, or is this just?
No, I think it's just information now.
And I'm going to Ramsey County tomorrow. My biggest thing is I don't want to put, this is this decision of large magnitude and a huge dollar amount thing. Look, I think it's like a $650,000 operation. We'd be assuming basically another fire department in the size of the operating budget. That's not counting the $1 million worth of grant money that comes in and out on a biennial basis. And so I don't want any action taken on the first day. Don't want to put any action items before you. State's Attorney's Office, new city attorney, I'm sure there'll be a lot of legalese going back and forth. But if all parties, the city commission, the airport authority, and the Ramsey County Commission take a spirit of trying to get to yes, or we can get to yes on this. Okay. So,
Thank you, Spencer. Okay. Next item we have on is citizen comment, and we have Geraldine Bingham. If you'd come to the podium, identify yourself, and then discuss your issue.
I thought I would thank you for your time and everything.
You're welcome.
I wanted to update you because you were the city fire chief when last talked.
Yes.
And anyway, I wanted to update you about things.
Okay.
Okay, I've been taking care of that empty lot all these 19 years with my family and friends. And I just wanted you to know that it was not me using the lot. It was Miles Cadillac. He was helping me with things and he was dumping stuff in my yard and the empty lot, and I was cleaning up after him. I took what help I could get. And then Austin Zettler's mother, I go to the Hope Center and I get food and I share with other people. So they feed more than what they told you, because I'm share with like 10 to 20 other people at times.
Mhm.
And then I've been housing people that don't have anywhere to live. My house is not in the best of shape. I have been trying to get myself to be better because I'm trying to pay for it to be fixed up, because I'm not 63, so I can't get a $10,000 loan from USDA Rural Development. I'm only 55.
Are you utilizing the benefits that we do offer?
No, I don't know of any benefits here.
Oh, boy. Hopefully, if,
So
See,
I was,
She is signed up for homestead tax credit.
okay.
I
just-
did sign up for
okay,
that.
perfect.
But anyway, there's a garden in there this year, so from an elderly couple, which is fine. We mowed around it yesterday
Mhm.
and we got rid of all the dandelions. And anyway, but they are here to attest that I'm not the one that has been using that. I have had people throw bags of clothes and bags of garbage there, and I have cleaned it up all these years with their help and some other family members' helps. And because I mean, that letter that I wrote all those years ago was my retaliation to feeling like you were bullying me. It was not meant to hurt you. It was just my
You know what? I forgot all
retaliation.
about it. You know what? It's
I just wanted
doing
you
a
to
job. And,
to know.
okay, well, I thank you.
And
Appreciate that.
because you said communication is best, so I
Yeah.
thought I'd communicate.
Okay, well,
And
thank you.
they have removed the natural gas line out of there a few years ago.
mhm.
And it's close line property, or close property lines, and nobody would buy it because it's such a small lot.
Mhm.
I talked to a lawyer and he said that if you were willing, I could offer you $100 and all the labor that I've put in all these years on that lot, if you'd be willing to let me have it, so that I don't have to come and bother you guys if I'm trying to rebuild my house. And I wanted to expand in gardening because I'm putting in a garden. I want to try to expand because nobody's going to hire me with the shape I'm in, because I found out last October from a neurosurgeon that my L5 bone is fractured on both sides. It's the bone connected to the pelvic bone, and the nerves are pinched in between. Nobody's going to hire me in that type of position. And so I can do gardening and crafting, and I was going to try and rent out to somebody once I get the house in better shape, and try to make things better for myself and my family, if that would be all right with you guys.
Is that lot, Mike, right now a city lot?
Yes, it is.
It is a city lot.
Okay,
It's lot number 15.
okay.
You know, there's a process for,
It's
city to
too small
dispose of
for anybody but the property owners that's on each side of it, right?
I believe it is a buildable lot. It wouldn't be an ideal lot, but I think it still
It
is
is
a buildable
buildable?
lot. I think
Because the
there's two
house
lots
burned
there.
down
It'd
on
be a
it in
minimum.
2004,
I do remember that, yeah.
and I bought my house in 05.
And you're requesting to be able to use the lot? Is that what I understand?
You'd like to purchase it.
To kind of purchase it, you know,
Well,
I don't have a lot of money because I live on disability now. I got on disability finally in 2019.
we'd have-
And I'm divorced, so my husband called me a gold digger for wanting him to help me pay the bills. So men, some men anyway.
Okay. What, I suppose we could
But
declare
I'm
it
friends with
surplus
the
and-
neighbors
and
now.
take bids on it.
I think,
Would it-
you know, we'd have to approach it two ways. We would have to declare it surplus and either take bids or work with a realtor to put it up for sale. In this particular case, I think, in all fairness to to your neighbor, you know, it may be a situation where half could go one way and half could go the other.
Mhm.
You know, when we dispose of public right of way, that's the way it typically works. Half the right of way would go one way, half would go the other. Potentially, that's a way that it could be split. if
Because
we
I
go
was
through a
thinking
process.
of putting a drainage part in there because
Mm-hmm.
a couple of years here, my backyard has been a lake.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't,
I think we,
Mayor,
I just wanted to try and make things easier so I didn't have to bother you
Sure.
guys so much.
well,
we could work through and lay out different options for the commission to consider at a future meeting, and then
you know, it's a lot that we're taking care of right now, and if we can make it work for the property owners that side each on it. it
Because
works.
Mark McDonald
Is he
and I
interested?
are friends now. He's been helping me with draining some of the water off. And his wife is actually a cousin of mine.
Well, maybe you can work it out where you could both work on.
Because
purchasing
I'm
that
willing
lot.
to share it with him, you know, I don't mind. He uses it all year long, every year with
Yeah.
that white truck. Either it's in the
Yeah.
front or it's in the back.
Well, why don't, Mike, you look into it with, and see what we can do to, he'll do that for you and see what he can do to,
Thank you.
see
I
if you
just,
can put it up for sale and then you both parties have an interest in purchasing it.
yeah, because it would be beneficial.
Well, it's probably no good for anybody. Nobody's showed interest in building on it, I guess. So,
No,
But,
we can bring forward some options for the commission to consider
Okay.
at a future meeting.
all right, will that work?
yes, thank you.
Yep, okay, thank
Thank
you. Okay. Yeah, informational items, we have nothing, so entertain a motion to pay the list of bills as submitted.
Motion to pay the bills as submitted.
Commissioner Pierce,
Second.
Ms. Robbins, Commissioner, any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Ash?
Aye.
Commissioner Robbins? Commissioner Pierce? President Mo?
Aye, motion carries. Nothing else comes before the commission, the meeting's adjourned.